My family drained my savings, forged my signature on a mortgage, and still had the nerve to say I was selfish when I finally said no. So I gave them a lesson in accountability they'll never forget. My name's Rachel Morgan. I'm 46, and for too long, I was the family's personal ATM. Before we get started, where are you tuning in from? Are you in the middle of the morning rush or on a late-night drive? Drop a comment below. You're about to hear everything that happened after I made the choice that changed everything. After my divorce at 38, I moved back to my hometown in Indiana. It wasn't what I wanted. I had plans for a fresh start in Seattle, but my dad's heart problems were getting worse, and my mom made the call sound urgent. Just for a few months, she said, until things settle down. That was 8 years ago. I landed a job quickly, becoming principal at the same high school I once attended. Stable, respectable work, a solid salary. I bought a modest house nearby and kept to a careful budget. But once word got out that I was doing well, the requests started rolling in. It began innocently enough. My younger brother Eric had been laid off and needed help, just until he got back on his feet. I paid 2 months of his rent. Then it was groceries. Then his phone bill. At first, I told myself it was temporary. Eric had a rough patch, but that patch turned into a lifestyle. He stopped applying for jobs altogether and started calling me the fund, like I was some kind of benevolent institution. My parents weren't any better. When the plumbing backed up in their house, I covered the $4,200 repair. When Mom's car died, I financed the replacement. Every expense came wrapped in a guilt-laced plea. "You're the one with the degree, sweetheart," Dad would say. "Your brother's just different." Translation: Eric couldn't be counted on, so I was expected to pick up the slack. Still, I didn't question it. I told myself I was being a good daughter, a responsible sibling, the boring one who always showed up and never made a fuss. That's how it always was growing up. Eric made messes, and I cleaned them up. What I didn't realize then was how deep the pattern ran. I had a separate savings account labeled Future. It was for travel, a potential second home, maybe a sabbatical someday. I rarely touched it, but as I'd later discover, someone else had. My name was tied to a shared family account we opened years ago, intended for emergencies only. Guess who treated it like their personal piggy bank? The night I logged in and saw the transactions, I felt something break. Not just anger, not even betrayal. It was a slow, suffocating realization that I was never seen as a person, only a provider. The stable one, the fixer, the one who would never say no. That version of me died in that moment. And what came next? Well, let's just say it wasn't quiet. I should have known something was off the moment I saw the valet stand. My mom had told me we were having a simple dinner for Dad's retirement, just a few close friends, some barbecue in the backyard, low-key. I even offered to bring a potato salad and a few folding chairs. She said not to worry, that everything was handled. Apparently, handled meant a full-blown banquet at the Willow Ridge Country Club. When I pulled into the lot and saw the rows of luxury cars, the catered tents, and a jazz trio tuning up under twinkle lights, my stomach twisted. I parked, took a breath, and walked in through the front entrance like I hadn't just been sucker punched. The hostess greeted me with a smile. "Oh, you must be Rachel, the sponsor of tonight's event." I blinked. "I'm sorry, the what?" She pointed to the printed programs on the check-in table. "You're listed here. Rachel Morgan, honoring her father's legacy." I picked one up and scanned the names. There I was, top billing, right above the words, "Dinner generously provided by Rachel Morgan and Family Trust Account." That was when I knew. The account. The family emergency fund I'd set up 5 years ago after Dad's heart surgery. A shared account that was only supposed to be used for absolute emergencies, medical, house damage, insurance deductibles. Not shrimp towers and crystal champagne flutes. I found my mother near the head table, adjusting a centerpiece like she was hosting a royal banquet. She looked up and smiled. "Rachel, isn't this lovely? The best night of your father's life. Did you use the family fund to pay for this? I asked, trying to keep my voice even. She waved it off. Well, yes, but it's a celebration. He worked for 40 years, sweetie. Don't be stingy. Mom, that money was for emergencies. This is an emergency, she said, laughing. We needed to remind him he's still important. Besides, you've always wanted to do something big for him. No, I hadn't. I'd wanted him to be healthy. I'd wanted him to stop treating Eric like a wounded bird and me like a lifeline. But I never wanted this. I found Eric at the bar, chatting with someone I didn't recognize. He turned and raised his glass. To the real MVP. Rachel, you footed the bill, huh? Told Mom you'd come through. You always do? My throat tightened. You knew, I said quietly. He grinned. Come on, you make more than all of us combined. This is like lunch money to you. I walked away. I didn't touch a single canapé. I didn't dance. I just sat at the edge of the room, watching everyone celebrate with my stolen generosity. By the time the night ended, I had already decided what came next. I was done funding delusions. The fixer was retiring too, just not in the way they expected. That night, I didn't sleep. I lay in bed, still wearing my dress from the party, staring at the ceiling while the echo of champagne toasts and "Thank you, Rachel" drifted through my mind like static. By morning, I wasn't numb anymore. I was clear. The first thing I did was log into the family fund account. The balance, $148. 30 days ago, it had been over $35,000. I opened the transaction history. The bleeding had been slow but relentless. Payments to caterers, musicians, a tent rental service, and something called Ever After Memories LLC, which I quickly discovered was a company specializing in event production. There were over a dozen charges in just the last 2 weeks, and all of them tied to my name. Then I opened my main savings account, the one labeled Future. Still intact. Good. I breathed a little easier. Then I opened my credit report. That's when I stopped breathing altogether. There was a new entry. A second mortgage opened 6 months ago in my name, tied to my parents' property. The one I didn't live in. The one I never agreed to co-sign for. I clicked through the document trail and found it. A scanned signature on a form I'd never seen before. My name, written in a careful, unnatural version of my handwriting. They had forged it. I sat perfectly still for a full minute, my hand shaking on the mouse. I didn't cry. Instead, I opened a spreadsheet. In one column, I listed every financial favor I'd given them since I moved back to Indiana. Eric's rent, Dad's prescriptions, the car repairs, the temporary utility payments. In another column, I listed every withdrawal from the family account that didn't have my approval. In the last, I included projected interest I'd be responsible for on the mortgage I never signed. The total made my stomach turn, over $112,000. And not a single thank you that wasn't laced with guilt. It wasn't the money that broke me. It was the manipulation. The normalization of theft wrapped in emotional debt. They didn't see me as their daughter or sister anymore. I was their funder, their fallback, their fool. I gathered everything. Bank records, emails, screenshots, my original agreement for the family fund. Then I called Sarah, a lawyer I'd gone to college with. She now specialized in financial fraud and elder estate abuse. I told her everything. She didn't even blink. You need to act fast, she said, because this is going to get worse. I'm not trying to sue them, I said. No, she replied, but you need to protect yourself before they drain whatever's left. I closed the call and looked around my house, my sanctuary, the place I'd built alone. This wasn't just betrayal, it was war. And this time, I wouldn't be the one cleaning up the mess. I'd be the one drawing the line. I didn't call a family meeting. I sent an email. Subject line, regarding the Morgan Family Fund and account activity. Body, please review the attached files before responding. We need to have a conversation. Saturday, 3 p.m. My house. Do not be late. The attachments included a PDF of the bank statements, a screenshot of the forged mortgage document, and a clean, itemized spreadsheet titled, "What You Took." No one replied. But at 2:59 p.m., they showed up. Eric arrived first, wearing a hoodie and sunglasses like he was avoiding paparazzi. He didn't say a word, just flopped onto the couch and started scrolling on his phone. My parents followed, dressed like they were headed to church. My mother wore pearls. My father brought a folder of papers, like we were at a negotiation table. I didn't offer drinks. I didn't sit. I stood by the window, arms crossed. Before anyone says a word, I began. I want to be clear. I know everything. I know about the forged mortgage. I know about the fund withdrawals. And I know none of you thought I'd ever find out. My mother's lips pursed. "Sweetheart, No," I said sharply. "You don't get to start with that word anymore." Eric laughed dryly. "This is about the party? You're really this bent out of shape over a few $1,000? "It wasn't just a party," I snapped. "It was a pattern, and it ends now." I tossed a folder onto the coffee table. Inside was a document from my lawyer, a cease and desist, drafted and ready to go, along with a notice of revocation for all shared financial permissions. "I've closed the family fund account," I said. "I've contacted the mortgage lender and submitted evidence of the forged application, and I've filed a fraud alert on my credit." Dad's face drained. "You didn't need to go this far. You've taken over $100,000 from me," I said, voice steady. "That's not love. That's theft, and you knew it." Mom tried the tears. "We're your family. We were just trying to get by. You're the one who's always been so capable." "Exactly," I said. "I've been capable, and you've used that as an excuse to rob me." Eric stood up, scoffing. "You're such a martyr, always throwing numbers around like you're better than us." "No," I said. "I'm just done being worse to myself than I am to you." They were quiet then. For once, no one had a comeback. Not even my mother. "I'm not pressing charges, yet," I said. "But if you try anything else, one more signature, one more withdrawal, one more lie, I will, and I will win." "Where are we supposed to go if we lose the house?" Dad asked quietly. "Somewhere that doesn't have my name on the paperwork," I replied. I didn't walk them out. I let them sit with the silence as I closed the door behind me. It didn't slam. It clicked, final, cold, deserved. The fixer was gone. The debt collector had taken her place. 3 weeks later, the house sold. Not mine, theirs. The mortgage company completed its investigation, confirmed the forgery, and gave my parents a choice: refinance independently or liquidate. They couldn't qualify for a refinance. The house went on the market that Friday. By Monday, a cash buyer made an offer they couldn't refuse, because they had no choice. They moved into a 2-bedroom apartment on the edge of town. I didn't help them pack. I didn't even say goodbye. Eric, predictably, tried to spin it into a redemption arc online. He posted a blurry selfie outside their new complex with the caption, "Sometimes life humbles you, but family always finds a way back." There were no comments. He'd burned too many bridges. My parents didn't post anything at all, but I knew they were watching. I could feel it, through the mutual friends who suddenly stopped liking my updates, through the cryptic Bible verses my mother began reposting about prodigal children and hard hearts. I ignored it all. Instead, I focused on building something new. I took the money I'd been saving, the real untouched savings, and opened Glass Ledger, my financial advocacy consultancy for women like me. Women who had been gaslit by their own blood. Women who were told that sacrifice was love and boundaries were betrayal. My first client was a nurse named Monica. Her brother had drained her retirement account and left her to face IRS penalties alone. I helped her build a case. We won. Her tears of relief were the first time in years I felt truly useful and not used. That was the moment I realized I hadn't lost a family. I had shed a weight. Around the same time, I bought a small cottage with a wraparound porch and a lemon tree in the backyard. I paid cash. I planted the tree myself. One morning, while drinking coffee on that porch, I got a call from an unknown number. It was Eric. I let it go to voicemail. His message was exactly what I expected. You made your point. You won. But maybe it's time to stop punishing everyone. Mom's been having panic attacks. Dad's blood pressure is through the roof. Just think about calling. I deleted it. That same day, I received an envelope in the mail. No return address, but I knew the handwriting. It was from my mother. Inside was a single photo of me and Eric as kids, holding popsicles on the front lawn of our old house. On the back, she'd written, "Before all the anger, before the money, before everything." No apology, just a memory weaponized as guilt. I walked out to the lemon tree, dug a small hole, and buried the photo there. Some things are better left underground. My name's Rachel Morgan. I was the responsible one, the boring one, the one who always paid. Not anymore. Now I choose who gets access to me. And I finally understand. Family isn't who shares your name. It's who respects your no. What about you? Have you ever had to make a difficult family decision that changed everything? We'd love to hear your story. Drop a comment below. We read every single one. If you're into real-life family drama like this, make sure to subscribe for more.